Join us on Patreon and become part of our journey to uncover history's untold stories. Your support helps us create in-depth content, bring hidden narratives to life, and keep history alive for everyone.
In the often unpredictable world of geopolitics, where history and culture frequently intersect with power and ideology, a single statement can send ripples across the globe. When Russian President Vladimir Putin, a figure as enigmatic as he is polarizing, referred to the concept of a black Jesus during a high-profile speech, the reaction was nothing short of seismic. The moment was steeped in both intrigue and controversy, capturing the imaginations of millions and prompting intense debate in political, religious, and social spheres. Why did these words resonate so deeply? What was their broader significance, and how did they challenge prevailing narratives? The mere mention of such a phrase was enough to ignite a whirlwind of speculation. For some, it was a calculated political maneuver aimed at destabilizing Western narratives on race, religion, and power. For others, it was a profound commentary on the universal nature of faith and humanity, a rare glimpse into the complexities of Putin's worldview. To understand the full impact of Putin's words, one must delve into the historical, cultural, and political contexts that surround him, and the ways in which they intersect with enduring questions about identity, representation, and the legacies of colonialism. To grasp the weight of Putin's statement, it is essential to understand the historical context of how Jesus has been represented throughout history. The image of Jesus as a fair-skinned, blue-eyed man is a relatively recent construct, largely emerging during the European Renaissance. Artists like Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci painted Jesus in their own likeness, embedding these depictions into Western consciousness. These portrayals aligned with the Eurocentric worldview of the time, reinforcing notions of cultural and racial superiority. However, historical and archaeological evidence suggests that Jesus, as a man born in first-century Judea, likely bore physical traits common to the Middle Eastern populations of the era. Over time, various cultures adapted the image of Jesus to reflect their own ethnic and racial identities, underscoring his universal appeal. In Ethiopia, for example, depictions of Jesus with African features date back centuries, deeply rooted in the nation's rich Christian heritage. These representations highlight the diversity of Christianity and its ability to transcend cultural and racial boundaries. Putin's reference to a black Jesus touched on this history, challenging dominant Western portrayals and invoking a broader, more inclusive vision of spirituality. By doing so, he confronted the Eurocentric lens through which much of the world's history and religious narratives have been filtered. In a world still grappling with the legacies of colonialism and racial inequality, Putin's words resonated on multiple levels. The notion of a black Jesus serves as a potent symbol of resistance against systems of oppression and exclusion. It calls into question the ways in which race and power have been intertwined throughout history, particularly in the context of religion. For centuries, Christianity was used as a tool of colonization, with European powers imposing their religious and cultural norms on colonized populations. The portrayal of Jesus as a white man became a means of legitimizing these endeavors, reinforcing the idea that whiteness was synonymous with divinity and moral authority. This dynamic played a critical role in shaping global power structures, creating a racial hierarchy that persists to this day. By invoking the image of a black Jesus, Putin tapped into a powerful counter-narrative. He implicitly acknowledged the contributions of African and African-descended peoples to the global religious and cultural landscape, challenging the dominance of Eurocentric interpretations. In doing so, he positioned himself as a provocateur, willing to question established norms and provoke debate on issues that many leaders shy away from addressing. In the United States, where discussions about race and religion are often fraught with tension, Putin's statement sparked a firestorm of reactions. For some, it was seen as an attempt to exploit America's racial divisions, a calculated move designed to sow discord and weaken the nation's social fabric. Others viewed it as a challenge to the country's moral and cultural authority, forcing Americans to confront uncomfortable truths about their own history and identity. The concept of a black Jesus is not new to the American context. During the Civil Rights Movement, figures like James Cone, a prominent theologian, emphasized the idea of a black Christ as a symbol of liberation and solidarity with the oppressed. Cohn's work highlighted the ways in which Christianity could be a force for social justice, aligning with the struggles of African Americans for equality and dignity. Despite these historical precedents, Putin's remarks took on a unique significance in the current political climate. In a nation deeply polarized along racial and ideological lines, the statement served as both a provocation and an invitation to reflect. For some, it was a reminder of the need for greater inclusivity and understanding. For others, it was an unwelcome disruption, challenging cherished beliefs and forcing a reevaluation of long-held assumptions. Beyond its impact on American discourse, Putin's words reverberated across the globe, highlighting the ways in which cultural and religious narratives are intertwined with geopolitical power. By invoking the image of a black Jesus, Putin positioned himself as a challenger to Western dominance, aligning with nations and communities that have historically been marginalized. In Africa, Latin America, and other regions with histories of colonization, the statement was met with a mix of curiosity and affirmation. For many, it was seen as a validation of their own cultural and religious identities, a recognition of the ways in which their histories and experiences have shaped the global religious landscape. In this context, Putin's remarks served as a reminder of the need to reclaim and celebrate diverse narratives, challenging the hegemony of Western interpretations. At the same time, the statement raised questions about Putin's motivations. Was this a genuine attempt to foster dialogue and inclusivity, or was it a strategic move designed to undermine Western influence and bolster Russia's standing in the global South? The answer likely lies somewhere in between, reflecting the complexities of a leader who has often used cultural and historical references to advance his geopolitical agenda. At its core, the concept of a black Jesus is a reminder of the universal nature of faith and its ability to transcend cultural and racial boundaries. It challenges us to look beyond superficial differences and recognize the shared humanity that underpins all religious and spiritual traditions. In a world often divided by fear and prejudice, this message is more important than ever. Putin's words, whether intended as a provocation or a genuine call for reflection, underscore the power of symbols and narratives to shape our understanding of the world. They remind us of the need to question dominant paradigms and embrace a more inclusive vision of history and spirituality. In doing so, they invite us to reimagine what it means to be human and to find common ground in the face of our shared challenges. As the world continues to grapple with the implications of Putin's statement, one thing is clear. The concept of a black Jesus has struck a chord that resonates far beyond the confines of any single nation or ideology. It has sparked conversations about race, religion, and power that are as urgent as they are timeless, forcing us to confront the ways in which history and culture shape our understanding of the world. Whether viewed as a calculated political move or a profound commentary on the human condition, Putin's words have left an indelible mark on the global discourse. They challenge us to reflect on our own beliefs and assumptions, to seek out new perspectives, and to embrace the diversity that defines our shared humanity. In a world often defined by division and conflict, this is a challenge we cannot afford to ignore.